What up, though? It's week 9 of the NFL season, and the Carolina Panthers are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. And quiet as kept, this may be one of the important games of the week because the Panthers they just had a chance last week to go first in the division, but they lost, so now they're last. But this will be a good chance for them to continue to stay in it. This is a bad division overall, NFC South, so it's really not going to be decided probably to the end. And who knows? The winner may only win 7, 8 games in the NFC. That's probably going to be good enough. But the Bengals, they just came in off a loss on a short week to the Cleveland Browns in prime time. Everybody and their mama was watching. And without Jamar Chase, a lot of people are asking questions about what this Bengals offense is going to look like and how dependent they were on him and how Joe Burrow is going to be without him as they continue to try to stay in tap with the Ravens as far as leading the AFC North. Now, the AFC as a whole overall is going to be tough, so getting to 10 wins is going to be imperative for the Bengals to get into the playoffs. But this is a big game for both teams overall. So we're going to get into all the things, the matchups to watch, the players to watch, how you should bet this game in terms of the spread and who's going to win this game overall. I got that at the end and more. Let's go ahead and get into it. What up, dude? My name is Aaron Duncan with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, recap and analysis of the Carolina Panthers. So if you want to see videos like this and others, hit the subscribe button down below. And please give this video a thumbs up if you have not. It takes a lot of effort. Doesn't take a lot of time for you guys to hit that thumbs up button, but it really helps me out a lot, so I really appreciate that. But before we get into everything else, I want to get you guys' prediction down below in the comments. Give me your score prediction for the Bengals versus the Panthers. Give me the score prediction and why. Give me the storyline for the game. Do you think Bengals offense will be too much? Panthers defense will be too much? Give me the reason why the score turns out to be what you think it's going to be. All right, let me know down below. So this game is opening up as the Bengals as a 7 and a 7.5 point favorite, depending on where you play sports betting at. Regardless, I play Bovada. It's been fumbling between 7 and 7.5 for the Bengals as a favorite. A whole touchdown favorite at home, coming off an embarrassing loss to the Browns. I understand where public sentiment could be. Everybody may have seen the Panthers have that heartbreaking loss in overtime to the Falcons after 2 missed field goals by their kicker, but they've been playing pretty good football over the past few weeks ever since Matt Rule has been fired and PJ Walker has taken over as quarterback, and the trade of Christian McCaffrey has had a pretty good effect on this offense overall as they continue to distribute the ball all over the place, and you don't really know who to guard. But when it comes to this team on the season, the Bengals are 5-3 against the spread, and the Panthers are 3-5 against the spread. So if you're into that, that's what it is. The Bengals have a winning record against the spread. So who are my players to watch in this matchup? The first one is going to be on the Bengals side, and that's going to be tight end Hayden Hurst. So with Jamar Chase out, they'll be looking to figure out any kind of edge they can get. Obviously, T. Higgins is a big body guy that can get that 50-50 ball. Tyler Boyd knows how to work that slot. But Hayden Hurst has really come along this year and has been somebody that's been pretty steady and consistent for Joe Burrow. I say this as him as a player to watch because Kyle Pitts had a great year this year so far, but he was able to get loose and even score a touchdown in the red zone last week against the Panthers. And then mainly because the Panthers are down starting safety Jeremy Chin, and they're a little bit thin at corner as well, with some guys being banged up, potentially Dante Jackson. Nevertheless, there's not really a good guy that has a great size and athleticism matchup for Hayden Hurst, similar to Kyle Pitts. Not saying Hurst is Kyle Pitts, but obviously these guys are bigger, athletic, have some speed to them, have a little bit of wiggle as well. They're more receiving oriented versus blocking oriented. So a guy like that would be matched up against Miles Hartfield. Miles Hartfield is about 5'10", 5'11", 215 pounds or so, he could play the safety, he could play the nickel, but when it comes to size, I think Hayden Hurst, how to defend him, he could be an X factor that people aren't really paying attention to that can really make some noise. So pay attention to Hayden Hurst. Another player I'm going to be looking at is going to be on the Panther side. This is going to be Terrace Marshall Jr. So with the Bengals being banged up in the secondary, only having one starting corner, which is Eli Apple, who was actually benched in week 7 against the Falcons at a certain point and had a hamstring injury last week, he'll be their only starter. He's not too much to sing home about. I assume he'll be on DJ Moore to not really. I don't know if they'll even shadow him, but nevertheless, DJ Moore will get that matchup and probably get most of the attention because ever since Christian McCaffrey has left, DJ Moore has had double-digit targets every game, just like a number 1 receiver should. And after that big game he had last week with that long pass, I know he's got a lot of attention of defensive coordinators and the public as a whole. So DJ will be getting a lot of extra attention. This is going to allow Terrace Marshall Jr. to work one-on-one. This is the other LSU wide receiver that Joe Burrow was throwing to at a certain point as well. He's not Jamar Chase, he's not Justin Jefferson, but Terrace Terrace Marshall Jr. actually has good size, good athleticism, and he counts for wide receiver U in LSU. He had a career game last week against the Falcons, being able to take advantage of those one-on-one opportunities. So I'll be looking for him to be able to make another step in his progress as he gets more playing time. He was a little bit held back by Matt Rule for some reason. He was buried behind Shi Smith and Robbie Anderson. But ever since Robbie Anderson is gone and Christian, there's been a lot more love to go around. And PJ Walker, with their time being on the scout team together, they have some chemistry. So expect Terrace Marshall Jr. to be able to make some noise if he can step up to the plate. The last player to watch on my list is going to be Ike Ekwonu. He'll be back. He'll be matched up against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL that nobody really talks about, and that's Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson used to play for the Saints. That's how I really got familiar with him. And I always saw him make plays coming off that edge against whoever we had on the left tackle position, because we never really had good guys playing that left tackle position nevertheless. But Trey Hendrickson, he's one of the best all-around D ends in the league. He can play the run. He's got speed. He can get around the edge and bend the hoop. He can bend. He has flexibility. He has good size and strength, his technique, and he has a fast get-off. This guy really has the whole package. He doesn't really excel at anything, but he's good at a lot of different areas, and that makes for an effective pass rusher. And like I said, he's one of the best pass rushers in the league. Now, Icky has improved every week since getting kind of taken to school by Myles Garrett, and they've been giving him less and less help on a week-to-week basis. We'll see how much help they give Ike Ekwonu, the rookie, this time around, but he has a lot more experience under his belt, and he's been playing a lot better in the pass protection game than the run game, which is a little bit puzzling because they expected it to be the opposite for him coming out of college. Nevertheless, against some good pass rushing teams over the past couple of games, whether it's San Francisco, the Rams, or the Bucs, he's had some of his best games of his career. So let's pay attention to Icky right here and see how he goes up against Trey Hendrickson. Another test on the schedule for our rookie left tackle that we drafted in the first round, number 6 overall. Now, the matchups to watch that I'll be paying attention to is we're going to flip it around. It's going to be the Bengals left tackle, Jonah Williams. Jonah Williams versus Brian Burns, our best pass rusher. We'll see how many times they get matched up against each other, but Jonah, he struggled last week against Myles Garrett, and a lot of people struggle against Myles Garrett. However, this Bengals offensive line has given up a ton of sacks, 29 to be exact, and the Panthers, they don't have a ton of sacks, but they're up there in pressures, and Brian Burns has been having a career year again in the run and the pass. So if they can make this team one-dimensional and like they want to do and shut down that run, it's going to make Joe Burrow get back in there. So it's drop back a lot more, have a lot more pass rush opportunities. So we'll need to be paying attention to our star pass rusher versus their left tackle, who's had some struggles over the past. So that'll be a matchup I'm watching. The next matchup I'm paying attention to is going to be C.J. Henderson versus T. Higgins. This is who I assume will be matched up just from a size perspective. I don't expect them to put JC anywhere outside the slot because of Tyler Boyd. And I think they feel good about having him on Boyd inside to take away that inside, since him and Joe have that connection. But I think T. Higgins on the outside will have to be matched up with C.J. Henderson just for the size and length. I don't like Dante Jackson being on there, but C.J. Henderson is coming off of his best game as a Panther, probably. He finally got a pick. He looked comfortable with the ball in the air on a deep ball. He didn't get beat over the top. He even got an interception. Yes, he gave up that yards after catch touchdown, but the improvement with the ball in the air is all I can ask for on a week-to-week basis. Obviously, with Dante Jackson being beat up at times, CJ will be relied upon a lot more. Bengals are going to try to test this deep, in my opinion. I just think that they're going to do it because they don't really believe in our corners on the outside. So I think they're going to try to test them. They got tested last week by the Falcons and were up to the task. The Falcons definitely don't have the horses on the outside like the Bengals do. So this is C.J. Henderson matchup. I want to see him step up and see if he can put multiple games of good football together, not just one spot out of nowhere that I had almost written C.J. Henderson off, but he came and had one of the best games of his career. So I want to see him continue to stack multiple efforts together. So that'll be another matchup. The last matchup I'll be paying attention to is DJ Moore versus Eli Apple. We talked about the injuries in the secondary a little bit when I talked about Terrace Marshall, but DJ Moore, like I said, he's had double-digit targets these past 2 games ever since Christian McCaffrey has gotten shipped out of town, along with Robbie Anderson. Everybody knows he's going to get the ball. PJ Walker knows he's going to throw him the ball. Can you stop him? Last week, I made a video earlier about the film breakdown of how DJ Moore has gone from being in the slot 22% of the time to 38 and 39% of the time in these past 2 games. Moving him around is going to allow him to get better matchups. Will Eli Apple shadow since he is the only starting corner on that? They lost Awuzie last week for the season. Mike Hilton, the slot corner that plays for them, who's one of their better corners, he's out. So who is going to be in the slot? It'll likely be a rookie or a safety. I like those chances with DJ Moore, putting him in the slot a lot more for those opportunities to take advantage of moving around the field and take advantage and trying to get one-on-one or freeing up other guys for other opportunities like I talked about. Obviously, Eli Apple has some experience playing with the Saints, so he's familiar with the NFC South. But from what I could see in a lot of the previous matchups, he didn't really match up with DJ Moore much. He was kind of on Curtis Samuel or whatever, and they left Marshawn Lattimore on DJ. So he has some familiarity, but this will be the first time he really gets to be hands-on with him. And like I said, I assume he'll shadow just because DJ's our best receiver and he's their best corner at this moment. So pay attention to the Eli Apple matchup. I hope DJ has a big day. So let's talk about my prediction because, like I said, the spread is 7.5 points. And if I'm going to lay money on this game, and I bet with Bovada, if you want to bet like me, you can go down below and get the referral link, and they match your first deposit. And obviously, it's a referral link, so when you sign up, I get a bonus, and you get a bonus. So it's a win-win situation. Nevertheless, the spread being 7.5 points, I just don't think there's a way. What I saw on Monday, granted, it was a division game. There's just not a way I see that a team that came off of a loss like that on a short week is a whole touchdown plus better than the Panthers, who've been playing better football ever since PJ Walker has been at quarterback. I think Vegas is trying to say that they see the loss from the Panthers as just the same old Panthers, but at the same time, if you've been watching these teams, they're kind of trending in opposite directions. Even though the Panthers lost, they've still been playing a lot better offensively, and that's been helping their defense continue to stay at that higher level. They had a little blip last week when they gave up all those points on the ground game, but the Bengals aren't a running team by any means. They're not a great running team at all, to be honest. So they won't be tested that way. They'll be tested more so in the past. But I think the Panthers offense has enough against this beat-up Bengals secondary that they can cover the 7.5 points. I like the Panthers plus 7.5 points. And honestly, I'm sprinkling a little bit of money on the money line as a straight up win for the Panthers. I have this being 26-24 Panthers, and the total is over or under 42.5. I think that goes way over. I think the Panthers put up at least 21 points, and I expect the Bengals to be able to make some plays on the outside. And even if they do, even if they do win, and I'm wrong about that, I still seeing it being a lot more of a high-scoring affair with Joe Burrow getting some chances down the stretch. Obviously, with our secondary kind of being suspect at times and them being a little bit outmatched on the outside in the secondary. So that's my pet bets for this game. However, if you want to do prop bets, I like DJ Moore over 62.5 yards receiving. I told you about Eli Apple being the only starter. Not really getting a chance of being familiar with him from the NFC South. He usually guarded other guys and let Marshawn Lattimore guard him. Using him more in the slot and stuff like I told you about, them going for 22% slot alignment to 39% slot alignment. I like them putting him there to get some kind of rookie or safety on him with Mike Hilton, their slot corner, being out. I just think that DJ Moore continues to get the double-digit targets that PJ Walker's been giving him. Whether they bracket him or not, I expect them to move him around. I like DJ Moore easily going over this 62.5. I like DJ Moore to be in the low 80s for his receiving total for this game with possibility of a touchdown. My next one is PJ Walker over 185.5 yards. This is the third week in a row PJ Walker will be facing a beat-up secondary with the Saints and the Bucks and the Falcons having those as well. He went for 300 yards last week, most of it coming in the second half, and a big chunk coming on that long touchdown. And he hit 177 against the Bucks in that backup week, and that was a lot heavier of a run game scheme. I think they'll still run the ball more, but I think with the secondary being what it is, he'll be able to clear that 185 yards pretty easily, in my opinion. And I think he hits right about 212, 215 as my guess. And especially with this beat up secondary, we just saw Jacoby Brissett put up 250 plus yards and clearly a running offense. So if they can get anything remotely close to that effort from PJ Walker, like I said, this should easily clear that. You guys let me know down below in the comments. Like I said, if you want to follow any of these bets, hit bovada.lv. I have a link for the referral down below in the description. You guys let me know your score prediction and everything for this game. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.